Just close the doors, and you're in a world of your own. Travel is not just about the destination, it's also about how you get there. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Enjoy real value online with TM Pick and Pay Click and Collect. It's time for the news.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of the Main News. My name is Joyce Mabiga.
And my name is Farai Gwaze alongside Susan Masona on the sign language desk. Let's take a look at our headlines for the evening.
The government declares war on drug peddlers as National Task Force on Drugs intensifies operations.
In business, a global airline's confidence in Zimbabwe on a growth trajectory.
The country has recorded an increase of over 30% in air flights during the second quarter of the year.
And in sport, a 19-year-old taekwondo athlete puts Epworth on the map.
Natsiraishe Maritza has been named the International Olympic Committee Women and Sport Africa Gender Champion.
Let's look at our leading story. 4 ambassadors have presented their credentials to President Emerson Mnangagwa at the State House in Harare, pledging to facilitate increased trade between Zimbabwe and their countries. 2 of the envoys are from Europe, 1 from North America, and another from the Middle East. Chief Correspondent Ruben Barwe has more.
It all began with the new Swedish ambassador to Zimbabwe, Mr. Per Lindgard, who came to present his credentials to the President, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa at State House this Wednesday. Present was the acting Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister, Professor Emon Murwira, and Ambassador James Manzo, the Secretary to the Ministry. The new ambassador cherishes the relations built over years between the peoples of Zimbabwe and the Kingdom of Sweden.
Sweden and Zimbabwe have a historic relation that goes back when the first Swedish missionaries came to Zimbabwe in the beginning of the 20th century. They were here building schools and hospitals. We were then supporting Zimbabwe during the liberation struggle, and we've been here as a development partner since Zimbabwe's independence in 1980.
A former ambassador of Canada to Senegal is now Ottawa's point man in Harare. The new ambassador says, "I have come with an open mind." Ambassador Adla Aristidla speaks.
I've conveyed that I'm coming with an open mind on all the issues that face us, bilateral and multilateral, open heart, and bearing the good wishes of my country, of my people, of my government, to the President and the government for a successful new year in office.
The letters of recall of my predecessor, Her Excellency Ambassador Melanie Robinson, and at the same time allow me to present the letter of credence by which His Majesty King Charles III
The United Kingdom and Northern Ireland has a new ambassador to Zimbabwe. Once a teacher at Chifamba High School in Mudzi district in Mashonaland East Province in the 1990s. Peter Vowell says for almost 5 years he stayed in this country and is honored to represent his country to Zimbabwe.
The UK and Zimbabwe enjoy successful partnerships in a range of areas, in trade and investment, in renewable energy, health, education, arts, sport. And at the heart of these partnerships lie the deep personal connections between the UK and Zimbabwe.
Since 2020, Saudi Arabia established diplomatic relations with Zimbabwe. Postponement after postponement on the presentation of credentials was the order of the day. Finally, This Wednesday, Ambassador Saad Al-Khatami presented his credentials to the President, Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa at State House. He is based in Lusaka, Zambia. He spoke to journalists of the intended arrival of a special envoy of his country to the President next week.
There is a lot of things we can discuss about it, including the investment opportunities. We'll talk about this with our colleagues in Zimbabwe, and we'll do our best from both sides.
The presentation of these credentials by four men is yet another statement of the engagement and re-engagement exercise of the Second Republic. And interestingly, more business delegations are expected to get their flights to Harare as the pro-business policies of the Second Republic continue to lure many to Zimbabwe, coupled with abundant natural resources in the country, to mention but a few. Ruben Barwez, ZBC News, State House.
Government has accelerated the fight against drug and substance abuse, with the Defence and Home Affairs Ministries leading efforts to track peddlers. We will be giving you the details to our top story as we progress with the bulletin. President Emerson Mnangagwa says the Second Republic will channel more resources towards devolution and decentralization programs, with high-impact projects being prioritized.
The inception of the Second Republic has brought massive transformation across the country through the devolution program, as funds are being channeled towards infrastructure development. Sectors such as education, health, road construction, water and sanitation have been given priority after government disbursed 40 billion Zimbabwe dollars to improve people's livelihoods. Officially opening the first session of the 10th Parliament in Mount Upton this Tuesday, President Emerson Mnangagwa said devolution funds will be increased to accelerate development across the country.
The Second Republic will increase resources dispersed towards the devolution and decentralization program. Priority is being given to projects which improve access and the quality of education, health, roads, water and sanitation. My administration is committed to industrializing and modernizing the economy, as well as transforming our infrastructure in order to improve incomes and the livelihoods of our citizens.
President Mnangagwa said there is need to scale up science-based education from primary school level to tertiary institutions.
My government continues to accelerate the implementation of the Heritage-Based Education 5.0 model, aimed at producing goods and services for our country's socio-economic needs. This Science, Technology and Innovation Trust has scaled up science-based education from the primary level up to institutions of higher education. More of our young, talented boys and girls are registering patents and they're running viable startups across our economy.
Under the Devolution Fund, Zimbabwe has become a hive of activity through construction of roads, dams, health centers and schools. Increased disbursement of devolution funds is expected to accelerate rural industrialization and create employment. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, the city of Gweru is set to host a ZANU-PF's National People's Conference from the 27th to the 28th of this month.
The ruling ZANU-PF party descends on Gweru for this year's annual People's Conference. ZANU-PF National Political Commissar Dr. Mike Bima confirmed the date, saying preparations for the conference are on course.
It will be the 27th and 28th of October in Gweru, Midlands province. We are still working on the numbers and the composition of attendance.
The National People's Conference comes after ZANU-PF romped to victory in the August 23 general elections, with the party's president and first secretary, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa, garnering 52.6% of the vote. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
Meanwhile, the ZANU-PF Midlands leadership says the province is ready to host the ruling party's annual conference.
It is all systems go for the ruling party's annual conference, which will be held from the 27th to the 28th of this month at the Midlands Provincial Convention Centre in Gweru. The ZANU-PF provincial leadership is confident of hosting a successful event after an assessment tour at the conference venue this Wednesday.
There are areas that need to be attended to. Some are critical, some are minor. As the minister said, we need to prioritize what we need to fix, so that the facility should reflect the excellence that we find in ZANU-PF.
Midlands Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Owen Ngwe, rallied the organizing committee to put all hands on the deck to ensure the success of the event.
We are the home province of the visionary leader, Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Hence, we must be pace setters, reflecting attributes of great organization skills, unity as well as good hospitality to our delegates.
Improving road infrastructure to the venue and cholera preventive measures also took center stage at the conference preparatory meeting. Tafara Chukumira, ZBC News, Gweru.
Works to upgrade the 345-kilometer Harare-Kanyemba road are progressing well as the government intensifies the efforts to repair the country's roads and improve interconnectivity.
Government is now implementing the 345-kilometer Harare-Kanyemba road project, with major civil works being undertaken on some parts of the highway. The rehabilitation has seen the total redesigning and construction of a 10-kilometer stretch from Mauwe to Mushumbi, which is now complete and open to traffic, while the contractor Exodus and Company is now working on another section. Transport and Infrastructural Development Permanent Secretary Engineer Theodius Chinyanga gave an update on the rehabilitation works, giving emphasis on how the road will improve interconnectivity.
10 kilometers has been opened to traffic, and that's the area around Mushumbi pools. The leg from Harare to Grue is simply some overlays, widenings that will happen. Real work starts around Mauwe. That's where real work starts. And of that portion, they have completed 10 kilometers. The target for 2023 it was 40 kilometers.
In February this year, government indicated it had secured a $360.5 million United States dollar loan for the rehabilitation and upgrade of the 345-kilometer road under the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program, a project to be implemented in a period of 5 years. The project is part of ongoing road rehabilitation programs, such as the upgrade of the Harare-Masvingo Bridge Highway and Bulawayo Victoria Falls Highway. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The tobacco value chain transformation strategy is shaping up through construction of a 20 million United States dollar value addition plant in Harare as the country seeks to realize maximum value from the golden leaf.
Construction of the 14-ton per hour tobacco processing plant by a Harare-based company is a significant investment in the tobacco industry value chain, which feeds into the beneficiation cluster under the National Development Strategy 1. The three-phased value addition plant is an offshoot of the tobacco value chain transformation strategy, where cigarettes production will be conducted among other semi-processing activities eyeing the export market.
The tobacco industry has been evolving over the years, and us as an indigenous company, we've made a strategy to ensure that we fully participate in the tobacco value transformation strategy. Previously, we were just buying tobacco from the auction floors, we were not contracting. So we started by contracting tobacco. Now we've made an investment in plant and machinery, which would see us processing tobacco for our customers. It's basically intended to do value addition for us and also for third-party merchants who will be processing at these facilities as well.
The plant has high-end equipment for value addition and is said to benefit from the increased power generation in the country and is backed by a solar plant that will feed into the national grid.
I think there's been an improvement in terms of power, but also we want to put our own solar system here to back up this plant, and also maybe to put the extra into the national grid. It might not match the entire local demand, but it will at least circumvent the problems that we currently have as a company, and also to cater for the other small-scale and indigenous merchant companies.
Completion of the plant is expected to catapult the tobacco sector's contribution to the gross domestic product from 10 to 12%. The golden leaf production has been on the rise, with a massive 294 million kilograms produced in 2023 from 261 million kilograms in 2022. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
The three armed robbers who were convicted for staging a money heist which saw ZB Bank losing 2.7 million United States dollars in 2021 have been slapped with a 10-year jail term each. Our reporter Fungai Jachi has more.
The conviction and sentencing of the trio has proved that crime does not pay, as the three will spend an effective 8 years behind bars, with the court also ordering for the seizure of the cash as well as cars they purchased using proceeds of the crime. The presiding magistrate noted that Shadrach Njowa, Tendai Zuze and Neverson Mwamuka deserved to be jailed for a lengthy period after they committed a serious offense which was well planned. He said despite being first offenders, they had started at the deepest end and could not be kept out of prison. The magistrate added that he could not order them to restitute the complainant as they do not have the capacity to do so, hence they should serve the jail term. The trio planned the heist, with Njowa being the inside man who had information on the movements of the cash in transit team. However, 4 others who were arrested in connection with the case were acquitted after the state failed to prove their involvement in the robbery. The court has since ordered the reinstatement of their seized cash and cars. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The decision by Citizens Coalition for Change legislators to boycott the official opening of the first session of the 10th Parliament this Tuesday has been described as a retrogressive move which undermines the will of the people.
The first session of the 10th Parliament brought with it over 20 bills encompassing socio-economic issues, with some of the deliberations commencing during the session. However, 179 members of Parliament from the opposition CCC chose to remain at their hotels bankrolled by over 1 million citizens who voted for the opposition party. Political analyst Mr. Gibson Nikazino noted that it is the electorate who stand to lose from the legislators' theatrics.
The boycott is not a position that is coming from the electorate. So what it means is the reaction by the opposition party CCC is to preserve the personal interests of the legislators and an unknown position of the party. By their presence in the Legislative Assembly, they are actually mirroring where ZANU-PF should correct issues, how the ruling party should do, because that's how the opposition should work. This is a detriment to the expectations of the people who voted for them, but at the same time, it is also reflecting what has been said over and over again, that these people, they have no particular interest of the people.
Another commentator, Mr. Takuzwa Gambiza, described the decision as a sign of political ineptitude premised on activism.
The opposition party, which claims that it represents those that are modern, those that are in urban areas, and then they fail to attend such a critical program of government, it only undermines their responsibility as representatives, because you can't expect everyone to come from be it Chitungwiza, be it Mbare, be it everywhere across the Parliament and scrutinize what the president is saying in Parliament or what government is providing. But you expect those that are elected to represent the people to then oblige and do their duties, the mandate which people elected them for in Parliament. So this then is a shortcoming of the opposition, and it undermines what the people expect from them. When they go to Parliament, it's not a place of activism, but it's a place to represent the issues of the masses. Let's not ignore the issues of the masses. Who elected you to go to Parliament?
Analysts have noted that the opposition has a track record of political grandstanding while ignoring their legislative role. The opposition CCC has been on record denouncing the August 23 general elections as a sham, but participated in the swearing-in ceremony, which signifies their intentions to benefit from parliamentary privileges at the expense of the electorate. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
Government has accelerated the fight against drug and substance abuse, with the Defence and Home Affairs ministers leading efforts to track peddlers.
The fight against drug and substance abuse has gone a gear up, with governments supporting all efforts meant to track down peddlers. This came out of Wednesday's cabinet sitting.
The nation is informed that the National Committee has been meeting in light of the observed increases in the case of abuse of drugs, and the meetings cover reports from the pillars over the period the 7th of July 2023 to the 23rd of September 2023. Cabinet highlights that 4 ZRP drugs and narcotics units have been established at 4 border posts, namely Bike Bridge, Victoria Falls, Chirundu, and Mutare. These points of entry are meant to curtail the inflow of drugs. Inland posts have also been established at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe Airport, the Joshua Nkomo Airport, and the Victoria Falls Airport. New technologies like the utilization of drones are being used in order to monitor the country's borders, in addition to the traditional surveillance methods, in order to reduce the smuggling and trafficking of drugs.
The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Muswere, briefed the media on government's decisive stance to deal with the city of Harare's dereliction of duty with regards to refuse collection. This comes after government in August declared a state of disaster in Harare in the wake of waste management shortcomings by the local authority.
Number 1, that a statutory instrument will be promulgated to make the National Cleanup Program compulsory for government ministries, departments, and agencies. Local authorities should localize the statutory instrument by promulgation of their relevant bylaws. Number 3, that funds collected by local authorities from residents for waste management will be ring-fenced in order to ensure that the authorities do not divert the funds for other uses, with EMA supervising the usage of the funds. Number 4, that deterrent fines for public littering will be introduced and enforced, and repeat offenders charged with no option of a fine but given mandatory community service.
Government also spoke on the Bay Horse mining disaster.
Cabinet also received updates on the Bay House mine disaster in Chegutu district and the plane crash in Mashawa district, which occurred on the 29th of September 2023. The government has instituted the following interventions. A state of disaster has been declared by His Excellency the President, Comrade Idi Mnangagwa. The District Civil Protection Unit was activated, and it promptly reacted by assessing the situation and coordinating the response efforts. The deceased have been accorded state-assisted funerals, which covers burial services, the provision of grain and funds to manage the burials. Efforts to retrieve the remaining bodies and account for the missing persons is ongoing. On the Mashawa plane crash, government through the Civil Protection Unit is meeting the following expenses: the forensic examination and DNA testing of the remains of the deceased, providing funeral assistance and psychosocial support to the bereaved families.
The sister republics of Zimbabwe and Malawi have also entered into a memorandum of understanding with Zimbabwe.
Cabinet advises that the MOU will foster cooperation between the Republic of Zimbabwe and the Republic of Malawi in the fields of ICTs, digitalization, digital public service delivery, and the digital economy.
Government has also entered into a memorandum of understanding with the International Federation of Construction Contractors Association to increase the country's capacity of the construction industry. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
You're watching the main news. A reminder, these and more stories are available on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw. Still to come ahead in this bulletin. In business, global airlines' confidence in Zimbabwe on a growth trajectory. The country has recorded an increase of over 30% in air flights during the second quarter of the year.
And in sport, a 19-year-old Taekwondo athlete puts Epworth on the map. Natsiraishe Maritsa has been named the International Olympic Committee Women and Sport Africa Gender Champion. We'll take a short break and be right back with more. Stay tuned.
You have helped build Tel One, a better Tel One and the world around us. A better world where we can live together, learn together, play together, work together, grow together. Our journey together continues today. Now we must focus on making our future even better. A better future for our children. Join us and let us do this together. Tel One, the future is better together.
So what exactly is a gold-backed digital token? It's a financial instrument tied to the market value of gold, offering stability, security, and a transactional option, a first of its kind. Imagine a digital investment instrument that maintains its value even when others are crashing. That's what makes the ZIG a safe and smart investment choice. Backed by physical gold held at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, every ZIG token issued is perfectly matched with the gold reserves, ensuring that your investment is secure. Tap into the power of ZIG, the Zimbabwe Gold. ZIG, stability, security, and convenience.
The Research Council of Zimbabwe, in collaboration with the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, would like to advise all stakeholders of the postponement of the National Research, Science, Technology and Innovation Conference, which was scheduled for the 5th of October to the 16th of October 2023. Any inconvenience caused is sincerely regretted. To confirm your attendance, please contact Mrs. Linda Goredema Kembo at lnd.kembo@rcz.ac.zw and Mrs. Rumbidzai Kuora at rkuora@rcz.ac.zw or on telephone numbers 04 304 733 0787 or cell 0772 313 252 or 0782 247 747 and 0775 192 903 by 13 October 2023.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
1,500 movies? I don't want this flight to end.
Welcome back. Government has put in place mechanisms and policies to spur socio-economic growth despite illegal sanctions imposed on the country more than 2 decades ago.
Historically, the imposition of sanctions has been used by the Western world to influence political viewpoints that support their hegemonic hold on countries without respect to self-rule and territorial integrity of nation-states. Countries such as Cuba have been under sanctions for the past 60 years, while Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Libya, and the Central African Republic remain under the yoke of embargoes in one form or another. The countries have, however, continued to grow in spite of these measures, much like how Zimbabwe has sought ways to grow and develop its economy in the face of illegal sanctions imposed by the West since the turn of the millennium. In the recent past, Zimbabwe has recorded significant growth in the agriculture, mining, and tourism sectors, leading to increased foreign direct investment. Director for the University of Zimbabwe's Business School, Professor Albert Makochekanwa believes government has put in place sound policies that have allowed growth of different sectors of the economy, such as the Transitional Stabilization Program that preceded the National Development Strategy 1.
What we have seen the government, especially recently, is that they've continued to put some policies like of recent we know the Transition Stabilization Program, which was replaced by the National Development Strategy 1, where we have seen that there are a lot of projects and programs on the economic front that the government has instituted, and we continue as a country to move on. So on its own, it shows that rather than crying, the government is doing its best to continue to grow the economy.
Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Ambassador Frederick Shava says the Inward Developmental Trust has seen the nation being able to seek diverse areas of growth, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic that saw locally produced safety wear and medical oxygen.
We encourage discourse or discussion between the public sector and the private sector. We've encouraged organization in the private sector through their own organizations like CZI, ZNCC, so that we know collectively what it is that they require. And for those who are coming from outside Zimbabwe, we have created a one-stop shop so that they can be assisted to form their companies without too much bureaucracy.
For almost 2 decades, Zimbabwe has been placed under the United States instigated Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Act ZIDERA, which limits the country's access to lines of credit. The illegal embargo confines government from accessing multilateral donor support and essential bank loans, which could have been used to develop infrastructure. Olin Andori, ZBC News, Harare.
We now cross over to our Montrose studios in Bulawayo, and Dora Ngube is now on standby to give us more news from that end. It's a very good evening to you, Dora.
Good evening, Joyce, Farai, and Susan. Many thanks for taking us on for the first part of the bulletin, and a lovely evening to you, our viewers at home. Thank you so much for joining us. We continue with the news from our Montrose News Desk. The 60th National Social Security Association NASA Safety Health at Work conference kicked off in Victoria Falls this Wednesday, with social dialogue being singled out as key to promoting health and safety in the workplace.
Experts believe the neglect of safety health at work will result in huge losses to organizations in the form of deaths of employees, lawsuits, fines, product or service boycotts. Delegates attending Shaw conference in Victoria Falls this Wednesday heard that social dialogue between labor, employers and government will create the best working environment.
Why social dialogue? Because through social dialogue, there is engagement between management and employees on a positive platform. That inter-engagement, what does it do? What are the main results? We harness collective consensus. Now there's an agreement about what to do, how to improve the workplace. The second one is commitment. Commitment, everyone is commitment to do what needs to be done for occupational safety and health. The third one is also collaboration, where everyone works together to make sure that the same cause of improving the workplace, to make it safer and healthier for workers, is achieved.
The conference, a platform to exchange notes on Shaw matters, is being attended by national and international delegates.
It's exposing us to global standards. We listened to this morning to what tech is doing. One thing which came very apparent to me was that even our legislation is falling far, far behind in terms of making sure that we can accelerate some of those processes, especially on guaranteeing our employees the safety they require and the health standards which are expected globally.
Zimbabwe, through NASA, Tripartite Negotiating Forum and other initiatives, has over the years strived to promote Shaw. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Government and its partners are establishing Cheswingo Safe Market and OneStop Centre in Masvingo to facilitate economic empowerment and security within public spaces.
The establishment of Cheswingo Safe Market and OneStop Centre is expected to promote women empowerment through job creation, while at the same time providing safe space for children to learn. The institution, which is almost complete and expected to cater for nearly 100 women, has a market center, preschool, play center, and one-stop center to help sexual and gender-based violence victims.
Vana baba tichakutsvagi kana kuti makora mariri tichipopotedzana mudzimba popoto rapera tichitengesera kunze uko zvokwadi tine dambudziko pakuti ningivo unongovuya pane chaketi dzimwe nguva tinotogwa tichitogwira nzvimbo kuti iyi nzvimbo yangu ndinda ndakapawadzapo nezuro
kana unonga uchidzidzwawo ipapo apawo pachiitwawo mai achitsvaga mari.
Government says the project, which will be rolled out in several areas, is meant to ensure gender mainstreaming and women empowerment.
The purpose of developing a safe market is to provide a safe market for our women traders. Safe in the sense that it's free from gender-based violence.
The project is part of the $3.5 million United States grant by the African Development Bank, implemented by the International Labour Organization and Masvingo City Council to promote access to safe markets for women and support gender mainstreaming.
Masvingo is one of our sites, but there will be other sites in Mutoko, in Bulawayo, and also in Karoi.
This safe market is to allow a woman to be able to balance their responsibility, their care responsibility, at the same time have a livelihood.
There has been quite a big shortage of trading space for our informal traders, and the coming on board of this project has solved part of that problem.
A number of programs are being rolled out by government to ensure women empowerment, including the establishment of a women's microfinance bank, Mesibov. ZBC News, Masvingo.
Access to quality maternal health care services has improved in Mango district of Matabeleland South Province through the results-based financing for health programs, which has reduced maternal deaths.
For many first-time mothers, especially those in the rural areas, there are many fears surrounding pregnancy, especially finance-related. 20-year-old Nkazumulo Ndebele is one of the first-time mothers who are benefiting from free maternity care services at Plumtree District Hospital.
Ngibona kulusizo kakhulu ngoba baningi abantwana abokuthi babe sebelahlekelwa ngabantu ababo kodwa ngenxa yokuthi sebekuyanyikelwa mahara kuyancedisa ngokuthi akula ndleko eziningi ozikhiphayo. Wonke nje uyazizwa uyamukelekile uthole umntana wakho ngokukhululeka
ngoba isikhathi esiningi nxa kubhadalwa kuyenza ukuthi sithola ukuthi siyabe sesibelethele emakhaya
ngoba imali kwesinye isikhathi iyabe ingekho.
Lapha sibeletha kahle nje ngoba sibeletha mahala asibhadali lutho and uzusiphumele nje uzibuyelele endlini.
Ngoba ngibona umama laba besuka beyabelethela ngaphi Plumd kodwa kade sikulo ubungcono ngoba abamama mabe ngaladubo olukhulu sebebelethela khona eclinic.
The results-based financing, RBF, which is being implemented by government in partnership with the World Bank, has resulted in the reduction of maternal mortality.
We have facilities in the province that have been able to build even mothers' waiting shelters. We have facilities that have managed to revamp.
Through the RBF, we have also improved in terms of how we are giving quality healthcare services.
The program was implemented to improve access to reproductive health rights, maternal, neonatal, child health and nutrition for vulnerable communities across selected districts in Zimbabwe. According to latest census results, Zimbabwe recorded a decline in maternal mortality from 1,068 to 362 deaths per 100,000 live births between 2000 and 2002. Yolanda Moyo, ZBC News, Mangwe District.
And that's it from myself, Durangube, and the Montrose News team. We now take you back to Joyce and Farai for more news.
Thank you, Dora, and our team from Montrose Studios. We are now back at Pockets Hill Studios. C Makoni Central Legislator Patrick Sagandira and 3 other opposition party members have appeared in court on charges of political violence, which occurred in Nyazura on Monday.
4 CCC members led by Makoni Central Legislator Patrick Sagandira were arrested this Tuesday in connection with political violence that occurred in Nyazura on Monday night after ZANU-PF won the Makoni South Ward 33 council by-elections.
Suspects who are linked to CCC who were arrested after the ward election results in Nyazura. They attacked the ZANU-PF supporters who were celebrating their victory. Pana Teddy Chipele, Pana Adam Mbeo, Pana Molini Chota, Pana Patrick Sagandira.
The suspects appeared in court this Wednesday and will be back Thursday for bail ruling. ZBC News visited Rusape General Hospital, where 3 of the 8 victims of political violence are admitted.
Takangoona wachibuda nechemurima ndopatakatoti rega tiungane panapa tabva taona kuti vanhu vakabata mipini wane zvisimbi tikati vanhu ava vari kuimba nziyo yedu asi vari kunga wane zvekuponda takabva taungana patakangoungana kudai hatina kuziva kuti kwese kumashure kwedu kwatozara kare nguva iyoyoyo ndopatava tatanga kutorohwa tichitemwa kusanganisira gumbo rangu remuri kuona iriri ndakatokuwadzwa zvokuti nyama yangu yese ndakarohwa
ndakaroherwa musangano nasagandira naTeddy Chipele zvikanzi iwewe wanetsa Mnangagwa wakahwina nekuda kwako pachiharare MP Nyakwedzi wakahwina nekuda kwako
nokurwadziwa inini Sagandira ndanyanya kutaurira kaagent handizivi zita ndobva atizobvuta mavhili 11 aya seni iyena ndakavarwa bhandibvutira mavhili 11 aya saka ini ndakanomhanya kunotevera kuti nditori mavhili 11 hangu bheki ipapo ndopatakanzi bhutsu naSagandira andorwa bhutsu ndinocheuka kudeso nditorwa ndare.
Business was also affected by the skirmishes, which have received widespread condemnation.
Navara shop inini ndanatwa mugubezi ndi pa WhatsApp then ndikuzoti chiwa vuraito ndovuraito chi zvikanzi dziko chiwa mukasa vuraito tikufa pana apakarowa wanu
munhu kana achinge akundwa ngaatambirane nekukundwa kwaanenge aita.
Meanwhile, the Makoni South Ward 33 by-elections saw ZANU-PF's comrade Japan Maxwell romping to victory after garnering 925 votes against 625 for CCC's Prize Lasaruwaka. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Rusape.
Economic empowerment of women has been identified as key in efforts to eradicate violence against women and girls.
Ini ndinomwa kuti ndaigara ndiri mumishonga zvikuru ndairohwa zvisingaite nemurume wangu pekuti kana akanga achida kuti andirove aigona kutanga kudenha kuvana zvokuti ukada kuti vana usavadaro vana vese tairohwa tese.
Teresai's story sums up what women go through, with others not so lucky to live and share their ordeal. Sexual and gender-based violence is a social ill that has become so common in Harare's suburb of Epworth and various communities across the country. With the establishment of a OneStop Centre to eliminate violence against women and girls, Teresai and her family have received a lifeline.
Saka ndauya kuno kundobva vati unokwanisa kunyora mapepa protection order anokwanisa kuti akuchengetedzei kuti musarambe muchiita se muchimhiri shongwa. Ndikati saka ndaisada kuti ndiita se ndiite zvekuvhurirana madhoketi kuti ndimusungise. Saka ndaita zvemapepa iwo ayaya ndobva tazoendesa mapepa edu kukoti iye achibva azoshedzewo bva taenda ndobva tanogadziriswa ikoko. Saka pari zvino edu aiwa takagara zvakanaka.
The move is an initiative by government and its development partners, with the Regional Director for United Nations Family Planning Agency, Ms. Lydia Zugomo, saying gender-based violence has left scars and trauma within families and communities.
Integration of services so that women and children can access them in one place in a holistic manner is extremely important. No one service is more important than the other. I think the challenge is, for some of the cases, they may need long-term care and support and follow-up. And making sure that one-stop centers have the type of resources that can provide that longer-term care.
The One-Stop Centre is addressing a number of challenges related to sexual and gender-based violence by providing multi-sectoral services including health, psychosocial support, safety and legal under one roof in a survivor-centered manner. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
In a sad development, a grade 7 pupil at Tafuma Primary School in Marondera was this Wednesday found hanging on a tree in a suspected suicide case.
In an incident that has left the Rujeko community in Marondera in a state of shock, the grade 7 learner was found hanging on a tree close to his home early Wednesday morning by his mother during early morning chores. The boy was last seen on Tuesday evening by his father as he retreated to his room for grade 7 exam preparations. The incident comes a week after the deceased was seen with a rope and veil on the same tree. Scores of people gathered around the tree in disbelief as they could not believe what they had seen, with some failing to hold back their tears. A neighbor, Gogo Vito, and Councillor Sifas Mazambani expressed shock at the incident.
Silence anga ari mwana akanyarara. Anga asina musikanzwa, anga asingatukani nevamwe vana. Kakunyanya zvikuru aigara ari mugedhi. Asi mwana aingotambira kana ku next door, kana kunetsana nevabereki vake. Ende anga ari iye mwana oga wababa namai Zuka wavanga vakatarisira. Chero nguva mai vake vabva kunotengesa vaimutsvaga vachida kuona kuti Silence acho ageza here. Asi mwana aingotaura taura kana kungoita musikanzwa nevamwe aifarira kutambira mugedhi mavo.
This event shocked all the people in the world since the age of the person of the kid is so small that at his age during our times we could not imagine doing such a thing. It's a devastating event which have left all the people, all the community shocked.
Zimbabwe Republic Police Mashonaland East spokesperson Inspector Simon Chazovachi confirmed the incident, adding that a post-mortem conducted this Wednesday revealed that the boy succumbed to suffocation. The boy was the only surviving child in his family after the death of his sibling. His body has since been taken to Marondera Hospital mortuary. Gerald Sasa, ZBC News, Marondera.
In news from beyond our borders, the United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, has warned of a looming hunger on the border between Sudan and South Sudan as families flee conflict. Let's get more on that story.
The data shows that the people fled to the country since the conflict erupted on the 15th of April between the country's two leading rival military factions. The agency says it requires more than 120 million United States dollars to increase support for the affected population in the region.
The ouster of Kevin McCarthy as U.S. House Speaker has left the Americans questioning whether the Republican Party is ready to lead in 2024. The U.S. Republican-controlled House of Representatives on Tuesday approved a motion to oust McCarthy, an unprecedented move amid Republican infighting, days after he relied on Democratic votes to pass a clean stopgap funding bill to avert a federal government shutdown. The 216 to 210 vote came nearly 9 months after McCarthy won the position in a dramatic 15-round floor fight, marking the first time in U.S. history that a House Speaker has been voted out of office in the middle of a term. 8 Republicans joined Democrats in voting to remove McCarthy less than 1 day after hardline Republican Representative Matt Gaetz announced a resolution to remove him through a process known as a motion to vacate.
The Indian Army has confirmed 23 soldiers are missing after a powerful flash flood caused by intense rainfall that tore through a remote valley in the mountainous northeast Sikkim state. A video released by an Indian Army spokesperson showed a thick torrent of raging brown water sweeping down a thickly forested valley with roads washed away and power lines ripped down. The army said water released upstream from Chungtang Dam meant the river was already more than 4.5 meters higher than usual. Flash floods are common during the monsoon season, which begins in June and normally withdraws from the Indian subcontinent by the end of September.
The main news takes a break. We'll give you business news when we return.
Made with pure mango and available in a mouth-watering 500 milliliter bag. Now you and your family can enjoy Damer fruit juice from your nearest retailer.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
Just close the doors and you're in a world of your own. Travel is not just about the destination, it's also about how you get there. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
With Zig, you have the flexibility to buy, sell, making them widely accessible, affordable, and easily transferable, allowing you the flexibility of any portfolio adjustments with ease. And here's the best part. Zig can now be used as a means of payment. Many businesses across the country will be accepting Zig, giving you the option to transact with ease. Tap into the power of Zig, the Zimbabwe Gold. Zig. Stability, security, and convenience.
They want buttercup.
They want buttercup. We want buttercup 'cause it's healthy. We
want buttercup at our school. We want buttercup on our team. We want buttercup, that's the rule.
When it really matters, buttercup margarine.
Buttercup margarine, extra goodness for you and your family.
With pure orange and available in a mouth-watering 500 milliliter pack.
What I mean, wanna see, what I see, what I feel, wanna dream, wanna be, I'm a freak, what up? What up? Hey!
Now you and your family can enjoy Damer fruit juice from your nearest retailer.
Welcome back. Zimbabwe is proving to be a destination of choice for tourists and investors after the country recorded an increase of over 30% in air flights during the second quarter of the year.
According to Zimbabwe National Statistics Agency ZimStat, Transport Statistics report covering April to June this year, global airlines' confidence in Zimbabwe is on a growth trajectory. The data shows that all airports in Zimbabwe recorded brisker business in terms of flights, with the country also recording an over 13% increase in passengers to more than 436,000 during the period under review. Association of Zimbabwe Travel Agents member Mr. Ignatius Matungamire said growth in flights indicate positive response by global operators to government pro-business policies.
It's a sign that you have a number of tourist arrivals increasing this quarter, and it's a trend which is basically continuing. It's a worldwide trend, but particularly for Africa and Zimbabwe. It actually signifies that Zimbabwe is a tourist destination. It has got very attractive tourist resorts, which the international arrivals are finding interestingly as an interesting tourist destination.
Tourism consultant Mr. Stan Higgins spoke on the benefits of the increase in air flights in the tourism sector.
Now we need people to come here, and so of course airlines bring those people here. In addition to bringing the people here, they join us in the marketing of the destination. They don't leave it to us to market. The airlines that come here help us in marketing the destination. So it's a multi-purpose success story. By bringing more people here, obviously our industry expands, more employment, more foreign currency earnings.
Experts believe the increase in the number of flights coming to Zimbabwe is being driven by growth in global tourism, international investors, hosting of conferences, and Zimbabweans living abroad. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
South African hip-hop powerhouses Casper, Nyuvest and Nasty C are set to headline the Fiesta Festival set for the 14th of this month, with event organizers confident that the show will boost the local hip-hop culture.
Thinking, hey, she's the bomb. A few months ago, she called me a lame nigga.
In a bid to strengthen the hip-hop culture in the country, this month's edition of the Fiesta will be headlined by two South African hip-hop stars, Casper Nyuvest and Nasty C, who will share the stage with local artists Volt JT, Blink 4 and Denim Hoods in Harare. The gig is an opportunity for local artists to learn the ropes from renowned musicians who are currently taking their music across the continent through the African Throne Tour.
It's an opportunity for the Zimbabwe hip-hop community to come together and actually, mix, mingle, and also observe and learn from two of the biggest hip-hop acts in Africa. So these are some of the advantages. These are some of the things to look forward to. I mean, Casper has been able to fill up the dome. He's done it 3 times. This is like, I think, a 40,000 seater stadium that he's been able to fill by himself. Nasty C signed to an American label. So these two acts are really big, and we are privileged to have them in Zimbabwe. Get the likes of our local hip-hop guys to sit down with them, have a conversation with them, learn 1 or 2 tricks. Our hip-hop culture, it lacks a little bit of identity. You know what I mean? It needs a bit of panel beating here and there.
The visiting artists are arguably among Africa's biggest hip-hop performers. The Doc Shebeleza hitmaker was in the country in May, where he performed at the King's concert alongside Ja Praiser, while Nasisi last performed in Harare at the Rick Ross show held late last year. Patience Nyagato, SABC News, Harare.
We take a break. We'll give you sport when we return.
So whether you're an individual or a corporate entity, accessing ZIG is simple. Just visit your local bank where dedicated accounts will be created for holding your gold-backed digital tokens. The pricing of ZIG in foreign currency will be informed by the international gold price as determined by the London Bullion Market Association. The daily prices shall be accessible on the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe's website and social media platforms. Tap into the power of ZIG, the Zimbabwe Gold. ZIG. Stability, security, and convenience.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is getting better and better and better.
All in HD.
It just makes no sense.
Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
In a world of an ever-changing and volatile financial markets landscape, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has introduced a cutting-edge financial instrument that combines stability and convenience. The ZIG, a gold-backed digital token, and now unveils an added feature, the ability to transact in this instrument. 1. As a bank customer, you approach your bank to buy ZIG tokens denominated in milligrams, payable in Zim dollars or US dollars. 2. Minimum purchase of ZIG by individuals is $10 US and corporates is $5,000 US or the Zimbabwean dollar equivalent. 3. Once ZIG has been purchased, the holder will, in addition to their existing bank account, now have a ZIG account denominated in milligrams of gold. 4. The bank client can now transact using their ZIG account through swipe and online payments. 5. A holder can keep ZIG balances for transacting or store of value purposes with a redemption option in US dollars or Zim dollars depending on their preference after a 180-day vesting period. 6. Goods and services will also be priced in ZIG. Tap into the power of ZIG, the Zimbabwe Gold. ZIG. Stability, security, and convenience.
It's like Emirates. It's like better.
Welcome back. 19-year-old Zimbabwean taekwondo athlete Natsirai Shemaritsa from Epworth has been named the International Olympic Committee Women and Sport Africa Gender Champion. More from our sports editor Lawrence Trusida.
The teenager who got a standing ovation after narrating her story at the second Association of National Olympic Committees Africa Anoka Gender Equality Forum in Cape Verde was honored by the International Olympic Committee for her foundation that has helped empower young girls in Epwetha. Natsirashe is using a foundation to teach young girls on the dangers of drug and substance abuse apart from self-defense techniques through taekwondo.
Being recognized is something that is very inspirational. And as I have always said from the beginning, that each award that I'm getting, I'm dedicating it to the survivors of child marriages and pregnancies, and also to every woman who is trying to make a difference in their society.
Natsirashe was officially handed her 2021 Africa Award Trophy at the second Anoka Gender Equality Forum, which took place this week in Cape Verde, where all 54 African countries engaged in ways to ensure gender equality, inclusion, and diversity is advanced in sport. Zimbabwe's Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Dr. Kirsty Coventry, and the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee representatives also attended the conference and engaged in various panel discussions. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News.
The 2023 COSAFA Women's Championship kicked off in South Africa this Thursday, with Malawi edging host South Africa 4-3 in an entertaining encounter at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in Pretoria.
China-based Malawi captain Temwa Chawinga showed her class after scoring a hat-trick to guide her team to a 4-3 victory over a young South African side. Despite the defeat, South African coach Desiree Ellis emphasized the importance of the tournament.
Yes, of course you want to win the tournament. We could have got practically half of the World Cup squad here, but what are we going to gain? You most probably win the tournament, but you're not going to gain anything. The experience that these players have gained is invaluable. And I can assure you that we will see better performances, even though the period is short in between. But they will take heart of the way they performed, they will take heart of the way they played, and they will take heart of that they've come up against a good side.
A Group B action takes center stage this Thursday, with Angola taking on Comoros, while defending champions Zambia face Mozambique at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. Zimbabwe, who are in Group C, conducted their first training session this Wednesday at Wits University, with vice captain and goalkeeper Chido Zingirai satisfied with the team's attitude. The Mighty Warriors take on Lesotho on Friday at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. Meanwhile, legendary Zimbabwe referee Felix Tangaurima, who's the Confederation of African Football Referees manager, is the head of 4 match officials at the tournament, while 2 local referees, Grace Gimo and Clarice Mango, are officiating at the 2023 COSAFA Women's Championship. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Gauteng.
Log leaders Ngezi Platinum opened a 6-point gap at the top of the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League log standings after edging Amiside Black Rhinos 1-0 at Baobab Stadium Wednesday afternoon.
Ngezi Platinum Stars collected maximum points on a day. Second-placed Highlanders dropped 2 crucial points to give a massive advantage to the Mondoro-based side. All in all, 4 wins were recorded in the 6 Wednesday midweek fixtures. Log leaders Ngezi Platinum Stars were among the winners with their 1-0 victory over bottom-placed Black Rhinos, helping them to open a 6-point gap at the top. Defending champions FC Platinum dislodged Manica Diamonds from 3rd position on the log after getting the better of the Mutare-based side 2-1 to move up to 43 points. Second-placed Highlanders continued with their woes after being held to a 1-1 draw by visiting Shisham at Babafield Stadium. Shisham opened the score sheet in the first half through a well-executed goal by David Mangesi, with Highlanders restoring parity through Stanley Gala before what was to be a winner was disallowed for an offside. Fading Giants, Cape United lost 2-1 to Yada, while ZPC Kariba beat Greenfield 1-0 at Nyamunga. The tie between Rentals and Chicken Inn ended in a 1-1 stalemate. Action continues this Thursday as Triangle United host Giants Dynamos at Gibo, while Bulawayo Chiefs face Wange at Luveve. Mchokozi Stube, ZPC News, Bulawayo.
And on that note, now let's have a look at the weather report.
Thank you for joining us this time for your evening weather report and forecast. My name is Benjamin Kwaramba. Well, sunny and hot conditions prevailed across the country this afternoon. And turning to the satellite images received this afternoon, they show clear skies that prevailed for the better part of today. Now, tomorrow we do not expect much change, where all areas again should wake up to clear skies, mild at first, becoming hot to very hot by afternoon. Now, for the temperatures in detail, Harare, the capital city, expect a minimum of 14 and a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. Kobulawayo, 14 and 31. Gweru, 12 and 30. Mutare, 13 and 30. Pekwe, 13 and 33 degrees Celsius. Kadoma, 14 and 34. Masvingo, starting off 13 in the morning, maximum 35. Chinoi, 13 and 32. Lupane, 12 and 37. Bindura, 13 and 34. Maronjera 11 and 29, Gwanda 13 and 34 degrees Celsius. Victoria Falls a maximum of 37, starting off 17 in the morning. Kariba with a maximum of 38, a scorcher there at Kariba, starting off 22 in the morning. Great Zimbabwe, the ancient city, 12 in the morning, 35 by afternoon. Yanga 10 and 25, Matopos 13 and 35, Chimanimani 11 and 27 degrees Celsius. Day after tomorrow, we even expect much warmer conditions, but all areas again should wake up to clear skies. Again, mild at first, becoming hot to very hot by afternoon. That does it in tonight's edition of the Weather Report and Forecast. Let's make it again tomorrow at the same time. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
The Weather Report and Forecast putting a cap on tonight's edition of the main news. From all of us here, it is good night.
Good night.
We are now in the post-election environment, and we need to put our political differences and come together as a nation.